Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, focused on the Computer Electronic Accommodations Program's Needs Assessment Process. My name is Derek, and with me today is Denisha.
Hi, everyone.
The Computer Electronic Accommodations Program, also known as CAP, is a centrally funded program in the Department of Defense that provides assistive technology and accommodations to support individuals with disabilities and wounded, ill, and injured service members throughout the federal government in accessing information and communication technology.
Today, we are going to provide an overview of the needs assessment process and explain the benefits of using a CAP needs assessment to identify the best possible accommodations to meet an individual's needs.
To provide you with a little context for this discussion, assistive technology, or AT, is defined as any item, piece of equipment, or product system which is used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of an individual with functional limitations. CAP's role is to provide AT so that individuals can perform their essential job functions and succeed in the workplace.
A CAP needs assessment is a comprehensive service that is intended to assist individuals with identifying assistive technology that can help bridge the gap between an individual's limitations and their work requirements. Needs assessments are typically broken down into a three-part process that evaluates the position, the individual, and finally, the solution.
When discussing an individual's position, the assessors seek to identify the tasks and duties required by the position, and to discuss the impact the individual's diagnosis is having on their ability to perform their essential job functions. After obtaining information about the individual's position, the assessors then seek to discuss what the individual is experiencing. They determine if the condition is pre-existing, newly acquired, or if it is progressive or temporary, and discuss what functional limitations they are experiencing. Once the CAP assessors have collected enough information about the individual and their position, they are then able to recommend assistive technology solutions based on the individual's specific needs in relation to their job requirements. This process allows the assessor to make the most appropriate suggestions to address the customer's individual needs.
Now let's look at a needs assessment case study. In this case, the individual being assessed has been diagnosed with bilateral carpal tunnel syndrome. They inform the assessors that the condition is newly acquired and they have very little experience with ergonomic devices. With guidance from the CAP assessors, the individual explains that they are experiencing pain, tingling, and numbness that radiates from their thumb and index finger to their elbow and occasionally all the way up to their upper arm. They then indicate that the majority of their job functions are performed using the mouse and that they constantly scroll through documents and spreadsheets. They explain that they type frequently, however, most of the pain they experience occurs while using their mouse, and they sometimes attempt to compensate by using their mouse with their left hand. They also describe their workstation and explain that their tools are placed on the desk surface and that they must reach up and forward to access them.
Using this information, the assessors are able to suggest an alternative pointing device, which allows the user to control their pointer by moving a cylindrical bar located directly below the space bar of the keyboard so it can be controlled using either hand. They also suggest an ergonomic keyboard that allows the user to adjust the height, split, and angle of the device, and a keyboard tray that will allow the user to adjust their tools to a comfortable and ergonomically correct position. The assessors also provide guidance as to general ergonomic norms and the reasoning behind why the devices were identified.
In this case study, the assessors used the information about an individual's workstation and their condition to identify the best possible assistive devices. Because the individual's existing tools were placed on their work surface, and they explained that they have to reach up and forward to use them, the assessors knew that a keyboard tray would be required to allow the individual to keep their tools in an ergonomically correct position. The individual identified their symptoms as being primarily based in their thumb and index finger. Therefore, the assessors knew that a trackball mouse that is controlled with various fingers would not be the best possible accommodation. Because the individual identified that they sometimes use their left hand to control the mouse, the assessors knew that a device that can easily be controlled with both hands would be effective. The alternative keyboard was suggested to allow the individual to keep their wrist in a neutral position to prevent further exacerbation of their symptoms.
This is a basic example of the CAP needs assessment process and how CAP suggests accommodation solutions. Had the CAP assessors been unable to discuss these points, the individual may not have been able to identify the best accommodations to meet their needs.
As mentioned before, needs assessments are intended to help individuals identify the best accommodations to meet their specific needs. When an employee does not request a needs assessment, they could potentially request accommodations that may not be suitable for their individual job requirements, areas of concern, or for their specific disability or disabling condition. Additionally, if someone requests accommodations from CAP that are not reasonable or appropriate for their specific limitations, the request could be declined. At that point, they would be referred to participate in a need assessment, prolonging the request process.
CAP can perform needs assessments for any federal employee with a diagnosed disability, disabling condition, or limitation. Those who most often benefit from a needs assessment are individuals who have never used AT, individuals who have used AT but want additional information about alternative options, individuals who have newly acquired disability or disabling condition, individuals who have moved to a new office location and need their workspace reevaluated.
A needs assessment can be requested using the CAP accommodation request form on the CAP website at www.cap.mil. Click Request Accommodation Solutions. Then you will input information about your duty status and who the request is being submitted for. Once the information is entered, click Continue. Then you will be able to select I want CAP to contact me. Simply complete the remainder of the request form. Any CAP customer can request a needs assessment through this avenue, regardless of their geographical location.
For customers located in the National Capital Region, often known as the DC metro area, we invite you to make an appointment to visit the CAP Technology and Evaluation Center, or CAPTEC, for an in-person needs assessment. CAPTEC is equipped with a variety of assistive technology that individuals can try out to see what works best for them. CAPTEC is located in the Pentagon and is also able to support tours and technology demonstrations for managers and employers looking to gain additional information as to how to best support their employees and colleagues. To schedule an appointment with CAPTEC, please call 703-693-5160 or email us at cap.captech@mail.mil.
In addition to performing in-person needs assessments at CAPTEC, the CAP staff is available to perform assessments via telephone, email, VTC, and in some cases at the customer's office location. However, the office location must have a minimum of 5 customers requiring this service at the same location. Following all assessments, a formal summary will be generated that allows the user to request the assistive technology that was identified during the appointment.
For more information on the needs assessment process or to request a CAP accommodation, please contact us at cap@mail.mil or visit www.cap.mil to visit previous webinars, technology demonstration videos, or see an in-depth look at questions to ask during a needs assessment. Please visit the CAP YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/thedodcap. For tips on providing reasonable accommodations to employees with disabilities, visit www.cap.mil/newsevents